Thank you all so much for being here this evening. We have some wonderful guests that we're going to hear from. So I'm going to call to order, reconvene the school board meeting. We actually met earlier today, so we are reconvening this evening. And I'm going to turn it right over to Mrs. Langston from Eastbrook Elementary School. And I believe Principal Mr. Carver, Ricky Carver, is here. Thank you all so much for being here. And the board is going to come down and sit in these seats in the front so that we can see the cute fronts of your faces while you're singing. And enjoy tonight. You're going to be providing the invocation and the pledge for us. All right?
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem.
was great.
I'm assuming she's here. Assuming. Thank you all so much for being such a great audience for our Eastbrook Elementary Chorus. They did such a fantastic job. It was a wonderful thing to have students here performing for us and leading us in the invocation and pledge. Tonight, I'd like the record to reflect that all school board members are in attendance except for Mr. Bauer. Dr. Griffin and Mrs. Beeman are here, as well as our school board clerk and assistant clerk. Thank you very much. We have one person here that's filled out a form to be acknowledged at the school board meeting. It's Ms. Polly DeLucia from the Seminole County Council PTA. Polly, thank you so much for being here and for all that PTA does for our district. I don't have any other forms. If you would like to address the school board tonight, there are speaker forms on the back table. If you would like to fill one out and turn it into the clerk, this would be a good time to do that. Let's see, Superintendent, do you have any modifications?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have 3 items for this evening. The first is the addendum for good cause is marked on our electronic agenda by a green flag named addendum item. Second, I'm going to pull from the agenda item 4T. These are the contracts related to the commercial transportation services. And the third and last item, I would like to pull for separate consideration item 4AK, personnel recommendations, instructional terminations, resignation, and suspensions for 2017-18. Item number 2, Travis Shane Pilch.
Thank you. School board members, do we have any items selected for removal, clarifying questions, or separate consideration? Dr. Calderon.
Not for me, thank you, Madam Chair.
Mrs. Almond?
No, ma'am.
Mrs. Sanchez?
No, ma'am.
All right. I have one item for clarifying questions, and that's item AL that was on the addendum, the Foundation Executive Director job description. All right. And with that, I'll take a motion for the agenda outline.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And we have a lot of presentations and recognitions and awards to give out tonight, don't we?
'Tis the season.
All right, great.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin, Chairman Lockhart, and board members. Seminole County High Schools have once again had a great success during the fall sports season. Tonight we honor some of these outstanding student athletes and coaches. I want to start with Lake Brantley High School. Congratulations to the Lake Brantley High School boys swim team 2017 state runner-up. Students, please come up when I call your name and remain up here because I have a lot to say about you. Gabe Parnell, Cole Parnell, Robert Frankenstein, John Makata, Cameron Claytor, and Ben Mesa, along with their coach, 37th year, Clay Parnell, state runner-ups. Some other accolades for this group. They were the 200 medley relay first place state champions, and that included John Moncada, Clayton Cantor, Gabe Parnell, and Robert Frankenstein. The 100 breaststroke first place state champion was Gabe Parnell. Also, 200 individual medley second place state runner-up was also Gabe Parnell. And to round it off, the 400 free relay second place state runner-up consisted of Gabe Parnell, Cole Parnell, Robert Frankenstein, and John Moncada. Here with them tonight also, Athletic Director Jerry Kelly and Principal Trent Daniel. Congratulations, Lake Brantley swim team, boys swim team. Moving on, more state champions from Oviedo High School. Congratulations to the girls bowling team, state champions. The Oviedo High School girls bowling team was back-to-back state champions. This season, they went 16-0 in the Seminole Athletic Conference, were district champions, and completed the run at Boardwalk Bowl, winning the state title, led by Coach Pat Costello. Here tonight are bowlers Priscilla Chun, Jacqueline Gonzalez, Emma Milksa, Justina Nielsen, Francesca Olay, Annabelle Olay, Shauna Rogers, and Emily Vasquez. Congratulations, state champions, Oviedo girls bowling. Also from Oviedo High School, state champions in the boys cross country. Members of the team, congratulations to Jaden Dadapania, Ethan Fields, Kiamo Galloway, Mamush Galloway, Tyson Harper, Jeff Metz, Zach Metz, Angel Viscoso, head coach Dave Tibbetts. Led by senior captains Tyson Harper and Ethan Fields, the Oviedo boys cross country team had a remarkable season. Swept the championship season by winning the Seminole Athletic Conference, district, and regional meets, and maintained a perfect record, winning the first cross-country state championship in Oviedo High School history. With them tonight, representing Oviedo High School, the head lion also for the girls bowling team, Mr. Joe Tribus. And finally, rounding out our state champions, from Lake Mary High School, the state champion girls golf team. Jenny Kim, Macy Somutsky, Jessica Reed, Kayla Lee, Alyssa Mercado, Gabby Perenstein, Abby Murphy, Darby Nuxel, Ella Baker, and Maddie Staub. Also with them, Coach Dennis Burchill. It was another stellar golf season for the Lake Mary High School Lady Rams. 16, the Rams defied the odds and through hard work and dedication were able to win a third straight state title. Along the way, the team claimed the Seminole Athletic Conference Championship, the FHSAA 3A District 5 Championship, and the FHSAA 3A Region 2 Championship. With them tonight, Athletic Director Doug Peters and Head Ram, Principal Mickey Reynolds in the center taking pictures. And another interesting fact that the coach told me tonight, and I know the board and Dr. Griffin will love this. They are up for the FHSAA Academic Award with an unweighted team GPA of 3.72. Dr. Griffin and board members, the next two awards are extremely special awards for us. The State AP Advanced Placement Scholar Award is an academic distinction acknowledging students who have earned the most AP exam scores of 3 or higher statewide and the highest average score of at least a 3.5 on all advanced placement exams taken. Now listen to this very carefully. This award is presented annually to one male student and one female student from each state and the District of Columbia. If I told you we had a winner, that would be amazing. I'm not going to tell you we have one winner. The female student who could not be with us tonight, but I wanted to recognize her for the state of Florida, was from Haggerty High School, Miss Elizabeth Hanberg. She is currently attending the University of Florida and unfortunately could not be with us tonight. Her mom thanked us for recognizing her at this ceremony. We didn't have one state AP scholar. We have the male and female. I am proud to say the male is with us tonight, all the way from Durham, where he's attending Duke University, former Lake Mary High School students. I am proud to recognize Drew Dadhania, the State AP Scholar Award winner.
Good evening. The National Association of Secondary School Principals National Assistant Principal of the Year program annually recognizes outstanding middle school and high school assistant principals who have succeeded in providing high-quality learning opportunities for students. These assistant principals are acknowledged by their peers for the exemplary contributions they have made to the profession. Each of the 50 states, the District of Columbia, the U.S. Department of Defense Education Activity, and the U.S. Department of State Office of Overseas Schools may select one assistant principal to represent their state. Please join me in celebrating Mr. Eric Basillo, who has been selected as the 2018 Florida Assistant Principal of the Year. Mr. Basillo will represent the state of Florida at the NASSP conference in Washington, D.C. Mr. Basillo grew up in Englewood, New Jersey. He has earned degrees in mathematics education and educational leadership at the University of Central Florida. Mr. Basillo has worked for 23 years in education. He has served as a math teacher and dean at Winter Park High School, and for the past 9 years, he has worked as an assistant principal in Seminole County Public Schools, at Tuscaloosa Middle School, Rock Lake Middle School, and presently at Sanford Middle School. He is also an adjunct professor in the mathematics department at Seminole State College of Florida. Tonight, he is joined by his wife of 20 years, Aaron, 2 of his 3 children, Alyssa and Dominic, and his mother, Mary Basillo.
Dr. Griffin, Madam Chair, school board members, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize FBI Special Agent Kevin Kaufman. He is the supervisor in charge of the Innocent Images Task Force, And he's being recognized today for the last 2 years. He's helped present the digital citizenship program in our high schools and our middle schools, helping us out with our Safe School initiative. So I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize him. I'm sure he'll love me for this, but come on up.
At this time, I have the privilege of announcing the newest member to our high school admin team at Lake Brantley High School, Lake Brantley's newest assistant principal, Jerilee McIntyre. Jerilee received her bachelor's degree from UCF and master's degree in educational leadership from Nova Southeastern. She began her teaching career at Lake Howell High School as a language arts and advanced placement psychology teacher. She received the Disney Teacherific Award for utilizing and promoting the use of technology in the classroom. And Jerilee moved into administration at Lake Brantley as a SAM in 2014. With her tonight, please stand and be recognized. Family members, Ashley Rogers, Dorothy McIntyre, Mike McIntyre, Cindy and Tony Brown, Marissa and George Roulan, and Dan and Kim Brown, and also her principal is here, along with other administrators, Dr. Trent Daniel. Please stand up and be recognized.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin and board members. I'm pleased to introduce you to the newest member of the ePathways team, Dr. Nicola Williams, joining us as coordinator for school counseling and ePathways services. Dr. Williams is a product of Seminole County Public Schools, having attended Castleberry Elementary, Lake Mary Elementary, Lakeview Middle, and Seminole High School. Following high school graduation, she earned an undergraduate and 2 graduate degrees from the University of Florida, and finished with a PhD in counselor education from the University of Central Florida. And Dr. Williams joins us from Oviedo High School, where she was most recently the Director of Guidance Services and a member of Mr. Tribus's leadership team. And with her tonight is members of her family, husband Isaiah Williams and son Roman, her mother Winifred Johnson, and her brother Ryan King. Please stand.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin and board members. I'd like to introduce the newest member to our facility planning team. Mr. Tim Goff is project manager for facilities planning. Tim is a 5th-generation native Floridian, graduated from UCF with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and is a registered Florida engineer. Tim joins SCPS Facilities Department with 23 years of experience as a project manager, with the first 10 years or 13 years with the Florida Department of Transportation on roads and bridges, and the last 10 years with a major school district locally, undertaking major renovation, remodeling, and new construction projects. Welcome aboard, Tim.
Oh, transportation first? You're right. Derek, I was just making sure you were paying attention. You're up.
Okay, board members, as they work their way up, remember when we had the information item on the ninth grade center, the transportation plan was still up in the air. They have it finalized, and I thought it'd be great to share it with all of you, because I know you'll, just in case you get asked any questions over the holidays, but it's a little bit different, and I want you to see it.
Good evening. I'm just going to run through it, just take a few minutes, and then if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. It's kind of a unique situation, so we kind of wanted to explain to you how it's going to hopefully work, but this is our transportation plan. In the morning, all of the students from Seminole High School will ride in together. The bus will first go to the main campus, and then it'll proceed over to the ninth grade center and drop off the ninth graders. That would include, when they get to the main campus, that would be your 10th, 11th, 12th graders. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a hoarse throat tonight. And your ninth graders taking your first period class. All others then would be transferred over to the ninth grade center. In the afternoon, we would split the routes so that we're going to send half of our buses to the ninth grade center and kind of stage them on the ramp. The other half of the buses, because we have about 55 buses now at Seminole, so we would take the other half of those buses, running to Seminole. They would pick up all of your 10th, 11th, 12th graders, and then they would proceed over to the ninth grade center, where the rest of the buses would be staged. The 10th, 11th, and 12th graders would then get off of the bus that they are being shuttled on and find their bus on the ramp. There's been a staggering of the times, about 10 minutes, so we think it'll work pretty well. There's a couple other things that we're looking at to make sure that it runs smoothly. We're looking at some issues with some stop signs and some placement and things like that. So that's kind of the transportation plan. Thank you. We did look at some other opportunities, but this seemed to be our best option to make this work. Some of the issues we did take into consideration was the shuttling of the 10th and through 12th graders rather than the shuttling of the ninth graders. So, you know, you got your newer students coming in that are unfamiliar. We just felt it would be a little bit better for that whole process. Putting the buses at the main campus, we're going to look at trying to identify who has the most 10th, 11th, and 12th graders that ride home on a bus. Those will be our shuttle buses. So those 10th, 11th, and 12th graders will not have to get off the bus and get on another bus once they get over to the ninth grade center. We're going to redesign, hopefully, the existing Millennium bus ramp, because it certainly is not going to hold the amount of buses that are going to be coming through there. And the change of the traffic pattern to allow a better movement of the buses. So that's kind of it. That's a grand plan, I guess you would call it, and hopefully this is going to run very smoothly. Do you have any questions?
I think a huge thank you, and I also think as great as we plan and we think it's going to work, as long as we're flexible and realize that there may need to be some changes that occur, I think we'll all be good. I think parents and students probably ought to be told that we're trying this, we're going to give it a shot. I'm looking at the principal and the executive directors of high schools nodding at their heads. I think as long as everybody can just show a lot of grace with one another in the beginning of the year, and knowing that we might have to iron out some wrinkles, I think that'll be great. It's a massive effort.
Okay.
Thank you all for working
awesome.
together.
Thank you. And our bus drivers do such a great job communicating with the parents, so it should go really well. Kudos to you guys.
Mr. Gaudreau, before I have Derek come up, I've had a couple of board members ask questions. I know nothing is finalized yet. What you're thinking about with capacity transfers in and out of Seminole High School, and I just want to keep talking about this stuff.
Yeah, yes, sir. Right now, we have about a total of 654 capacity transfers out of Seminole High School. Of those 654 students, about 591 of them are primarily Lake Mary. It's about 150 students a year, roughly. And my recommendation would be that we not do capacity transfers out of Seminole High School to Lake Mary. We keep the diversity open. We keep the program of emphasis options open. I think with the new capacity that we're building at Seminole High School with the opening of the 9th grade center, moving students over to the 9th grade center and taking a campus that comfortably probably can have 3,200 students down to about 2,200 or so, it makes sense to try to build that campus back up and keep the capacity transfers from leaving Seminole High School. The only other school that gets a few capacity transfers really is Winter Springs High School. The class size transfers, which was when Seminole was closed, are basically going to go away because Seminole will not be closed. So over a period of time, those will no longer be a factor. And those students will actually have an option of coming back this year. We're not quite sure how many of them will. There's not a tremendous amount of them. There'll be 11th and 12th graders. If they live right down the road on Ridgewood, they may choose to come back to Seminole, but they've bought into their school at this point, being juniors and seniors, so they may want to stay at Winter Springs, Lyman, and Oviedo. But I think, and Mr. Rinaldi and I have talked a lot about this, I think with the capacity opening up at Seminole, in my opinion, it makes more sense to not take students from Seminole High School where there are seats to a school, capacity transfer them to a school where there's not very many seats.
So for clarification, you'll have diversity transfers and the programs of emphasis at Lake Mary will still remain open to students in any part of the county?
That has not been finalized. That's my recommendation, that we continue the diversity transfers. About 109 students at Lake Mary on a diversity transfer from Seminole. And of course, when I said capacity transfers, I'm not really referring to siblings that are in the grandfathering. Those students would stay. We're not going to disrupt that. It's the new students going on a capacity transfer. And what was the other one you mentioned, diversity and POE?
Right.
Yeah, the POEs would remain open, yes.
Board members, I just want to, what we have to keep on our planning radar, is controlled open enrollment. And I don't want to create a large void at Seminole High School that we can't justify. So it's a balancing act. But I want to keep you in these conversations because I know people are asking you as they're asking me when we're out and about.
I have one question. Whenever, is that okay? Extracurricular activities. Do we have a lot of activities in the morning that 9th graders would need to go to the main campus, or how's that going to work?
No, because their
Or
bell
afternoon.
rings at 7:10. First bell is 7:05, correct, Dr. Cole? And then 7:10 is the tardy bell. So, I mean, there's just not, there's not a lot of time in the morning for things to happen. I know it's different in middle schools where there seems to be built-in time. High school, students may get there at 7 o'clock, and the first bell's at 7:05. So, no. And not only that, but any extracurricular activities that are happening on the main campus can be replicated on the 9th grade campus.
Okay, so like in the
Kind of a
afternoon?
unique situation.
We could do that as well. Like, I know some students get tutored by the National Honor Society. Would those older students come over to the 9th grade center? Or how would we do that?
They certainly could. Yeah, I'm sure Dr. Collins and
Okay.
Mrs. Washington would be able to arrange that. That would probably be in the afternoon
Correct.
because of but
Right.
yes, absolutely. Actually lends itself to kind of a good situation where that would work because of the adjustment in times. They'd have time to get over to the 9th grade center.
And
Right,
then the
distance.
students that would have extracurricular activities in the afternoon at the high school, they would just walk over there, or how we would shuttle them? Okay.
Yeah, volleyball practice or football practice.
Perfect.
The nice thing is now they actually are getting another gym. So the 9th grade volleyball team, girls volleyball team, may practice at the 9th grade center. That's going to kind of be something Dr. Collins works on. The football practices are right there by the 9th grade center. But yeah, absolutely, they could go over to the main campus for their sports and other things.
Super.
You got to remember, it's going to be one school, and I think that's the important thing, and that's what we're selling it on. It's one school. We don't want to think of it as two separate schools. It's separate campuses, but it's still the 9th graders are Seminole High School 9th graders, so they'll play Seminole High School 9th grade football and be part of Mu Alpha Theta and things like that. So I think that's important.
Mr. Gadra, if I
ma'am.
could, with the controlled open enrollment, I know we have discussions year-round, but I know for parents in the community, they're waiting with bated breath, and I know you have a recommendation. We haven't voted on anything, but I just would like to suggest that as soon as we could get some sort of communication out to the families and for them to know when the deadlines are to apply for the programs of emphasis. So if there are parents wanting to make a choice, they would know that rather than scuttlebutt going around in the community.
Yeah, I'll bring the information on it probably in February, just so we know. But I want to, just in case you have any other thoughts or whatever, I think we all have to put our heads together. This is a huge undertaking. There are so many more advantages to having the ninth grade center in proximity to Seminole High School than disadvantages. But as Ms. Lockhart said, we'll work through all of these.
Well, talking to the community, they were saying, wish we had a ninth grade center at every high school.
well,
Like, well,
we
we
did
don't
in
have
South
the
Florida. It was
space,
awesome.
but,
It's emotional,
yeah.
makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Godreau. I know that was a surprise. Mr. Jensen, come on up and talk to us about Sci-High.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin and members of the board. I'm happy to be here tonight to update you on the Sci-High program that, as you know, is running at Lyman High School, Seminole High School, and Lake Mary High School as well. And then talk about kind of our expansion plans for next year for the program as well. So as you know, Sci-High is a student-driven, problem-solving, design thinking program where it's really a kind of a student-powered curriculum where students are aligning their interests to projects and then tackling those projects in the real world, and that's like the primary driver of the curriculum. Here's an image of some of our students at Lyman High School who are kind of engaged in a rapid-fire exchange of ideas with one another where they're sharing their passions with one another and kind of like speed dating, aligning themselves to other students in the class who have the same interests as they do so they can pursue group projects. Here's another image of those same Lyman students now collaborating with some of our students in the Lake Mary elective class as well. So we've had a lot of cross-campus collaboration between these students where they're presenting their ideas to each other and sharing their project successes. And this is something that the teachers have cultivated, and the teachers are doing an incredible job in this program. They've cultivated and are expanding upon this like cross-room collaboration, which is really an extension of their own collaboration with one another. And as a result of all this like brainstorming and design thinking the students have done, we've already had some tremendous successes in the class. Our students have used their passions. These are some of our students who've raised a bunch of food. It started as like an idea to try to get more food for a food pantry, and it kind of just expanded, and a small in-class project turned into them raising quite a bit of food and materials for a good cause. And we also had several students volunteer with a local organization that rejuvenated the playground at Idlewild and improved that as well. Those were Lake Mary Sci-High students as well. And in the aggregate, we are getting just an enormous amount of positive feedback from our students who are excited to be in the program, who enjoy this kind of learning, and who want to continue with it in the future. And as a result of that, we would like to move forward with our plans to expand this program and provide a full-time problem-solving offering to Seminole County students as a choice option. So we'd like to start a full-time program of emphasis at Seminole High School that accepts incoming ninth graders opening fall of 2018. And this would be at Seminole High School located in the ninth grade center that we were just speaking of. And the student experience in this program would be unlike the student experience in a normal high school curriculum, in that every student would have a personalized schedule, and that personalized schedule would kind of be them taking maybe one or two classes discretely, like you can see in this graphic. Maybe a student takes their ninth grade English and math course discretely, and then all of their other coursework is fused into a project like this interdisciplinary project block, where they still are working on all those like content area standards that are aligned to those courses, but they're doing it in a transdisciplinary project-based way. And our teachers will be, both traditional instructors in some of those discrete classes, but they'll be primarily project managers and student mentors who are helping them through these project processes and evaluating the artifacts of their work. And really the keystone of this is the like highly authentic, engaging, and rigorous projects that the students would be doing with real-world implications. We really have 5 primary program features that we'll be marketing to our community as part of this program. The first is obviously project-based learning is the primary driver of curriculum. Students having a real-world impact, so partnerships with local businesses and community organizations being one of those drivers of the curriculum. Building the whole program based on relationships. So the idea that we put our students into teams with our teachers and build very close student-teacher mentorship model relationships that persist throughout the student's entire career in this program, so that they feel a very close sense of identity to their teachers and to their peers as well. The small school model, so we're kind of positioning this as almost like a school within a school, and it should have less than 200 students enrolled on it. And finally, it's mastery-based, so students demonstrate mastery and kind of attain those, meet the benchmarks for their course credit through the submission and evaluation of authentic performance artifacts. We're going to be, marketing this to parents and our community members starting in January. And we really think that the momentum we have now, thanks to your support, and our fabulous teachers and our fabulous students will persist well into the future. And we think this will be a really creative and engaging program for our students.
First of all, thank you very much. I just love it. It's amazing. Two questions I have. One, how many students are you looking to have in the program for Seminole?
This is a tentative answer right now. We're still kind of looking at facilities and all of that, but for our initial class, we're hoping for about 70 students for next year, and then with a maximum of around 200 in that area of campus.
Wonderful. And have you had an opportunity to do a survey with the students from Lake Mary and Lyman to see what they like and what they want to change? So, I'm sure you probably have, because I know how you are. You're amazing. So.
Well, thank you for saying that. I don't know if I'm that amazing, but we have started surveying the students. We did a 6 weeks and a 9-week survey with them. They've been doing it kind of at the end of each quarter. We've been capturing some of that data, and I'd be happy to get that data and share it with you.
I would love that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We appreciate
Awesome.
it immensely.
Board members, I want to compliment Derek. He has taken a vision and brought it to life, and he's so well planned and so energized and so motivated. I think he's going to have a problem keeping these numbers down in a very short
I
time
agree.
as soon as
Yeah.
students realize what's going on.
Unbelievable. Fabulous.
Mr. Carnes, I'm going to ask if you would, as we move to the consent agenda, the item that I pulled for clarifying questions. I know this is something that Dr. Griffin and the foundation and you have been working on and wanting to make sure that we get it right before we go out to advertise the position again. I just wanted some clarification. And school board members, if you have any other questions or things pop up, feel free to chime in. Number 8, under performance responsibilities, it refers to, it says manage foundation staff, including participating in hiring and performance evaluation. And I want to make sure that we're really clear about the word staff, because when board members, we talked about this at a work session several months ago, that the foundation voted to amend their bylaws, that they did not want to have staff, that the foundation will no longer have staff. So I'm just wondering if you could help clarify, or if there's language that would help clarify. I think that could be confusing moving forward.
Sure. So when we say manage the foundation staff, the employees that work in the foundation are appointed by the school board, so they're technically school board employees. And the purpose of number 8 is the executive director is going to be the person that's responsible for the day-to-day management of those people that are considered the staff that work in the foundation office.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments as we move forward? No? Okay. I appreciate your time and
Absolutely.
effort working on this. I think it's really critical, and we want to make sure that we get it right. That's it. I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure that we had that cleared up.
Yes, ma'am.
Lockhart, I think it's important, as we have spoken, that the new executive director will be reporting to me. I think it's important that the person is a part of my team, works with all of us, and is aligned to us in terms of our strategic plan and our vision and our work. And the work that they're doing to raise funds should support the things that we are working on. So a big part of this is of certainly having the right person, but having the right structure. And that's what have put a lot of time in trying to get this right.
No other questions? Have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right. Student discipline hearing dispositions? Oh, thank you. I apologize.
Okay, board members, we pulled an item for separate consideration. And just to go over this process, I will read my recommendation. Mr. Carnes will come up and make a statement. Mr. Pilch is welcome to make a statement. Mr. Carnes can come back. I will reread my recommendation, and then we'll go ahead and vote. And my recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County, Florida, approve my recommendation as presented for the 2-day suspension without pay of Mr. Travis Pilch for making inappropriate remarks and directing profanity towards students in the performance of his duties, which is a violation of School Board Policy 6.50, Professional Ethics, and Florida State School Board Rule 10.081, the principles of professional conduct of the education profession in Florida, and as much is misconduct in office as defined by the State Board Rule 6A-5.056, criteria for suspension and dismissal. The effective dates of this 2-day suspension without pay will be January 11th and January 18th, 2018.
Board members, on October 10th, 2017, a freshman student reported to Seminole High School principal, Dr. Connie Collins, that an incident occurred in their science classroom where teacher, Mr. Travis Pilch, became frustrated with the students and on at least 2 occasions directed profanity at his students. Mr. Pilch provided a statement where he indicated he was frustrated with the students' use of their mobile devices, stating that, "I do not recall using the words I am accused of using. I do know that I was severely disappointed in the boldness and veracity of some students' outlandishly selfish behavior." An investigation was conducted in which students were interviewed and provided written statements. All the statements gathered corroborated the initial complaint the students had made to Dr. Collins. This incident follows a previous incident that occurred in late August of this year, for which Mr. Pilch received a letter of reprimand from Dr. Collins, whereby Mr. Pilch deliberately demeaned and embarrassed a student by playing a 26-second meme to the entire class entitled, "That is the dumbest answer I have ever heard," in response to a student's answer to a question she was asked in class. In that letter of reprimand from Dr. Collins, she specifically directed Mr. Pilch that such behavior would not be tolerated and to never again engage in inappropriate communication with students, and that he must embrace the professional tenets of the education profession and exhibit them in all future interactions with students. Mr. Pilch's pattern of inappropriate comments to his students and disregard of Dr. Collins' directive in violation of State Board Rule 10.081, the Principles of Professional Conduct for the Education Profession in Florida, which states the Florida educator's primary professional concern will always be for the students and for the development of their students' potential, and will therefore to exercise the best professional judgment and integrity. These principles go on to state that a Florida educator has the obligation to the student to make every reasonable effort to protect the student from conditions harmful to learning and or to the student's mental and or physical health and or safety. These principles further state that the professional educator shall not intentionally expose a student to unnecessary embarrassment or disparagement. School Board Policy 6.50 states that the School Board of Seminole County, Florida believes it is imperative that all officials and employees act in the highest ethical manner and preserve the public trust. An effective educational program requires the services of personal integrity and high ideals, and that all certified teachers and administrative personnel shall abide by the principles of professional conduct for the education profession, as accepted standards for ethical conduct. Mr. Pilch has clearly demonstrated a lack of regard for his students and has not only failed to protect them from conditions harmful to learning, but has exhibited behavior that creates conditions harmful to learning by intentionally embarrassing and demeaning students. He has failed to demonstrate the ethical standards that this board requires of all employees and which are the central tenets and obligations of a certified teacher. Therefore, based on the investigation and the facts associated with the incident of October 10, 2017, and in conjunction with the previous incident and directive provided by Dr. Collins, Dr. Griffin is recommending that Mr. Pilch be suspended without pay for 2 days for misconduct in office for his violation of the above referenced school board policy and state board rule in accordance with State Board Rule 6A 5.056, criteria for suspension and dismissal, which states that misconduct in office means one or more of the following: a violation of the principles of professional conduct for the education profession in Florida, a violation of the adopted school board rules, behavior that disrupts the student's learning environment, or behavior that reduces the teacher's ability to effectively perform duties. Thank you.
Mr. Pilch?
Hello. I wish I had a copy of what Mr. Carnes just read so I could analyze it more closely. Two phrases stuck out to me. He said that my actions were intentional. They were not intentional. He said that my actions were a pattern. They may have been a pattern from that incident in August and that incident in early October. This is my 16th year here. I've had a stellar record. I love my job. It's not a job, it's a career. But I find more and more the way that institutions have to run, it's turning teaching into a job. There's a lack of disconnect. This has frustrated me deeply. I was assigned to teach a new course this year. I was not happy about it. They're telling you, well, you know, that's your job, you know. I'm highly educated. I've studied biology at the doctoral levels. I've actually completed 2 doctoral degrees. This, by the way, is not an excuse for my behavior. I'm laying a scene here because I want everyone to learn something. I learned something recently about myself. If this all wouldn't have happened, I would not have learned, I'll cut to the chase, that I have ADD, attention deficit disorder. That probably sounds like an excuse. If you would have asked me about this a month ago, I would have you know, ADD, ADHD, you know, what is that? You know, lack of discipline. You know, like, it's not. I have learned. How could I have been a teacher this long and not known about this? You know, it's coming out more and more in our society because of lack of connection. Families are stressed, financially stressed, socially stressed. You know, we have the mobile devices. You know, ironically, as we all know, they're a means to connect. They're also a means to tragically disconnect. I have had wonderful rapport with my students for 15 years. I have stood in this very room to receive awards. What happened? The reason I'm saying this is what happened, you know? Going back to my own high school, I was a straight A student. I had perfect attendance for 6 years. Last year, in my employment here, I did not have good attendance. I was physically ill. It turns out it was stress, but what's causing the stress? You know, in other words, how could I have held it all together for 41 years? I'm 41 years old. I have been teaching here since age 26. I was 26 years old when I first stood in this room. I was a recipient of a International Baccalaureate Faculty Award, which I still am, an instructor of IB biology. How did I hold it together? Well, I had connection. There was structure that I built. When I hadn't been to a psychiatrist. When Dr. Griffin sent me that letter, I was like upset. I was angry. But I'm like, what? Why? Why is this happening? I have to find out. I went to see a psychiatrist. I couldn't believe I would do that. That's not something, that, our family would do. But I did, and he says, well, I was laying all this out, and he's like, ADD. I'm like, what? No. He said, read this. I've been reading a book, and it sounds like me. There's a phrase in it about filing cabinets. The people with ADD need filing cabinets. As it turns out, I probably have 10 filing cabinets in my laboratory classroom. Thanks to the surplus warehouse at SCPS back in the day. I don't know if they still do that. I would go there. I would love to pick out my filing cabinets. When I was in 7th grade, what I wanted for Christmas was a filing cabinet. And my parents got it for me. And it's all clicking now. I have to construct order around myself. This is why I was so upset, when this order was taken away from me, when they told me to teach a new course. They're like, oh, come on, you got this. It's freshman. You've taught biology at the highest levels. Kids love you. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't have an answer. Mr. Carnes and Dr. Griffin are correctly stating protocol, but I didn't have that answer until recently, So yeah, I held it together, and marvelously for 40 years in education. And you can look at the school newspaper. Students, there's articles about me in the newspaper. I'm a sponsor of clubs, So I'm just saying, there's a contrast, how, that ADD or ADHD is real, and it can pop out at any time in your life, and we're seeing it pop out more and more these days, again, because of societal stresses, the lack of connection. And I didn't have the connection. I was seeking connection. Again, I'm not here to place blame. I'm here to learn, help others learn. I reached out to Mr. Carnes before any of these incidents occurred because I had frustrations about the way things were being run in general. And he met with me. And I didn't hear anything back. And he said, well, he didn't realize I wanted to hear back about anything. And I said, yes. So he arranged a meeting at Seminole High School, which is my second home. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm thinking that's nice. I would have gladly gone here to this building after hours, as I did the first time, after hours on my own time. And he said he wanted to meet in the boardroom or a meeting room. And I'm like, no, come to my classroom. Come to my classroom. It's my home. Get to know me or whatever. I didn't say it in that way. As I said, please have it in my classroom. But I didn't know why I was asking for that. As it turns out, learning more and more about ADHD and, accommodations, that workplaces should provide. I'm not a litigious person, okay? I'm not doing this to get back. I'm just excited about learning about this. It's like, we have to know, ahead of time what's coming. Like if Dr. Collins is wonderful. She is very wise and very insightful. She doesn't know this. She altered her way of interacting with me. I haven't even spoken to her about this. I haven't. But she knew, how to interact. But she started coming to me. That's a big high school, 3,500 students, 200 faculty and staff. She came to see me. That made all the difference. But it sounds like I'm being selfish, but I mean, that's what it says here, and for accommodations, I can't, I'm still learning about this, but things have turned around. I'm having great days again with the students. I'm still having frustrations with the mobile devices. It's like it is connected to their circulatory system,
Excuse me, Mr. Pilch.
Yes.
Can you wrap up your presentation as to the issue that is before the board?
Oh, but see, it's all connected. That's the thing. It's like,
You have a minute.
Well, that set me off. Here's something else to consider. This is a nice sample, 2-million-year-old clams with calcite crystals 200,000 years ago from Florida. I mined this myself and many other samples. The janitorial services were so bad a couple years ago that I was determined to have, this is heavy, it's 14 pounds. I was determined to have my room cleaned. I'm like, it's going to be cleaned. I had been sending emails about this for years. Had a really great custodian. His wife got cancer. Got a new custodian. He's doing better now. But that fell on my, not that one, another one, that size, fell on my head because I was putting it up on shelves. I'm like, this room is going to be clean. I'm going to make sure it's clean. It was up there on the shelf. The next week, I opened up a cabinet door. The cabinet door caught one of those things. It came down on my head. They weren't sure if I needed stitches. I have pictures. Pass those over if you want to look at them. They weren't sure if I needed stitches. So this was on a teacher workday. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to make a fuss about it. They had me sign a waiver form when I still had blood coming out of my head. And by the way, you know, post-traumatic brain injuries can lead to the attention deficit things. I'm not saying that's what caused it. I'm exploring things here. It's not about an excuse. What I did happened.
Thank you, Mr.
I am
Pilch.
very, very sorry for it. I ended up
Mr.
having
Pilch.
to, I was bleeding for 8 hours. I had to get staples in my
Madam
head.
Clerk?
Carnes.
I'm sorry, did you have any questions?
We may, if you'd like to go ahead and wrap up your things, and then Mr. Carnes will have his wrap up. And if the board has any questions following that, we will certainly let you know. Well, we're going to proceed with our process, and if we have any questions after Mr. Carnes is done, we will let you know.
Board members and Dr. Griffin, just to clarify, first of all, in Mr. Pilch's presentation, he produced some information relative to some ADA accommodations that we've just been made aware of this evening. So I want to assure you that we'll follow up on those and engage in the appropriate interactive process with Mr. Pilch and Dr. Collins to address that. I'd also like to just further state, Mr. Pilch does not dispute the facts of the case that got us to this point and got us to Dr. Griffin's recommendation, and as such that the information that he provided about himself provides no excuse for his behavior in relation to how he treated and interacted with his students.
Board members, if you have any questions, that'll be an opportunity. We certainly would be best off having a motion and a second before any discussion. Is there a motion on the superintendent's recommendation? Would you like to do you want to restate your recommendation?
Would you like me to? Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Motion and a discussion, and no discussion. All those in favor, support of the superintendent's recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Have our student discipline hearings next on the agenda, Dr. Griffin.
Yes, Madam Chair. My recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County approve the student disciplinary recommendations from October 30th, 2017, November 6th, 2017, and November 27th, 2017.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Have Sue Carson is here this evening for public comment. Mrs. Carson, if you wouldn't mind coming forward, and you've been with us enough to know that we don't need to read the public comment. Yeah.
Positive thing.
We thank you for being here.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Griffin. My name is Sue Carson. I'm the president for the Seminole Education Association. The purpose for me being here tonight is to thank the bargaining team for the district, Mark Rusty specifically, and Boyd Carnes and their team for working collaboratively with the union to negotiate a salary increase for all employees for Seminole County Schools. I would like to make sure that you're aware that we appreciate that collaborative action, and we appreciate you ratifying the contract so that we are able to honor our people that work for you. And that's the only reason I'm here tonight, and to wish each of you a Merry Christmas and to say thank you for all of your collaborative work with us.
Thank you.
Merry
Same to
Christmas.
you. Thank you for all you do for us, too.
Don't believe we have any unfinished business. The superintendent's report.
All right, board members, it's finally here, the 2018 high school graduation schedule. Students have been asking me on Twitter, and I just keep telling them it'll be in the board book tonight. These are the dates, and the contracts will be coming to you probably in January. We'd like to try to get them out before the holidays. People buy plane tickets, make family plans, and so on. I'm sure I'm not going to say this completely correctly. I know Mr. Gatto had a little bit of scheduling issues with Amway this year because of the potential Magic playoffs. So it took a little while to get the date reserved, and one possible date was to have it Saturday of Memorial Day. I see y'all laughing. Was to have it Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, which we didn't think would be a good time to have it. So for the first time in quite a while, we have an evening graduation. I think it's Lake Brantley High School at Amway at 7:30. I think the last evening one we had was a 5:31 at UCF. But I think Dr. Daniels will be looking at UCF for the next graduation as we move forward, and then we'll have all our graduations in one location. A little bit easier to work with UCF.
In the past, did we schedule our graduation after they started their season? I remember us waiting tentatively, like in February, for us to do it. So I think it's like earlier than expected for the date.
When I was the executive director, I tried to get it wrapped up around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then depending on how the Magic were performing, former leadership, I think, did a little better job of predicting whether they would or would not be in the playoffs. I just felt like we had to wait a pretty long time this year. It's just a challenge. And remember, with all school districts starting a little bit earlier, we are competing with Orange County for the two same locations. So putting this schedule together looks easy, but it's a challenge.
Thank you.
Board members, something that I thought we would go ahead and discuss now, because there are 4 of us to cover all of the schools. Typically, the District 1 school board member would cover both Haggerty and Lake Howell. And I didn't know if Mrs. Almond might be willing to go ahead and take Lake Howell, since she will be already at UCF for the Winter Springs graduation.
I would like to do that. I'd be glad to do that.
Okay. And then Mrs. Sanchez, would you be willing to do Haggerty on May 21st?
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then other than those, we'll keep our regular schools. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, both of you, for being willing to pick those up.
Anytime.
All right. Sorry, I took your item.
That's it. That's good. It was important discussion. That concludes my report.
Board member committee comments, and we've had a lot of stuff going on. Dr. Calderon, you are first tonight.
I'll try to abbreviate it so we can share amongst all of us, but a shout out to Crims Academy and our business partners there who had the opportunity to interview every single senior. That's one of the requirements for a senior to graduate at Crims, that they actually have a business interview with someone from the community. And every year I'm more and more impressed with the students. I've already received typewritten thank you notes from each of them, and I always feel I learn more than they do in my inquiries, but it's a great learning experience. I almost wish every student could have that opportunity before they go out into the workforce, but it's great for them. Midway Safe Harbor interviews, I represented this board on in the last few weeks, so hopefully on the beginning of the new school year we'll find out about new staff there. I also attended the Indian Trails Middle School History Fair. It was the first time they hosted it on their campus, and every year the projects get better and better. There was a 9/11 one that brought tears to my eyes. It was about twice as tall as I was, but they really found their passion and came up with some great products because of that. And I think just like with Sci-Hi, when a student can find their passion or something they really want to research, they will go above and beyond. So thank you to all of our teachers giving that wonderful opportunity. And Ms. Cardona, I wanted to say thank you to you for representing Seminole County Public Schools so well at this month's Seminole Chamber Good Morning Seminole meeting, talking about how this county has been impacted with all of our students coming from the islands due to the hurricanes. I was just proud to be a part of your family, supporting all of these kids as if they were ours, because they are ours now. And our teachers are going above and beyond the call of duty. Our community is going above and beyond the call of duty with donations and support. And I just wanted to say thank you for taking that lead. We really appreciate it. I don't want to steal the thunder of everybody else for Aviation Day, but Dr. Wysong and your team was phenomenal. I couldn't believe that you had to have over 2,000 students there on a freezing cold day, and there was something there for everyone, whether you were a newborn. I even had one mother come that she yanked her son out of UCF for the weekend to just come to Aviation Day. So we were meeting the needs of children, baby children, all the way through college students, and I saw parents enjoying their day too. Many of us went to the Sanford Christmas Parade, but what really warmed my heart were how many of our students and teachers were there. We had so many schools in that parade that performed as if they were in the Macy's Day Parade in New York, so they really made us proud there as well. I also serve on the zoo board, as you know, for this board, and just wanted to let you know even more good news. Last month I said we got a grant to allow every Title I elementary student to attend the zoo free of charge. They now have gotten another grant for all of our middle schools, not just Title I, for them to go for tours aligned to their middle school curriculum. So that's great that we can expand that program. And wanted to say that the annual tourism awards here in Seminole County were this past week. Chairman Lockhart was there as well, but I think the connections that we made with our hospitality programs with many of those employers, they're very, very excited from the economic development standpoint to partner with us in any way. So I look forward to going through there. And then I'll let you talk about where we were today. We had a few instances.
Okay, so I guess I'll start with where we were today. Castleberry Elementary had a Leader in Me Leadership Day. And, you know, to hear these kids, if you were blindfolded, you would think they were probably upper grade level for middle school or high school. But most of them that we interacted with were 7 and 8 years old. And they were leading groups. There was one, they were having a leadership conversation. And the little girl said, okay, who's ready to share the leadership skills that they know and talk about the different habits? And then she would remind people, you know, if they passed their turn to come back. And it was really, really a wonderful event. So I don't forget to tell everybody to enjoy your break, relax, enjoy time with your family and friends, please. The simple things in life are the best. Teach-in, I live by Castleberry Elementary, and it was a busy day. We had a school board meeting that day, so I participated over there and Well, we all see each other everywhere we go. We should carpool, but we don't.
Exactly.
But it was a lot of fun. It's good to interact with all these kids and the teachers and appreciate what they do. Veterans Day, Castleberry Elementary and South Seminole together always do a program where they bring the band over and invite the veterans in, and the veteran teachers participate as well. But there are a lot of community members that come out just for that don't have children in the schools, and I know a lot of the other schools also had programs. And unfortunately, at times, we just have to pick the closest school in proximity because we have such full days. We would love to go to all the other programs in the district as well. Idlewild Elementary had a playground refresh day, as we heard Derek speak to earlier, along with the Sci High students. Seminole County Sheriff's Office had a huge presence there. It was cleanup, yard trash, regular trash. There was painting going on. They fed each other donuts and things, typical food. It was a lot of fun. The effort was started by Colleen Gonzalez with GROW, and she leads the initiative for our kids to run track in elementary school. So it was an awesome, awesome day. A lot of teachers and administrators there as well. And let's see what else. Children's Cabinet had, they talked about updates from Youth Move, which is our high school students. Child Abuse Prevention Task Force has put out their new resource directory. It's electronic, it's in real time, it's constantly updated, and you can find that on the Seminole County Children's Cabinet website under Resource tab. This month, the program that they had at Children's Cabinet was Implicit Bias. It was very interesting, and they talked about the things that we're biased about, just based on, the repeated things we see on the news or read in the paper and how it starts to build a pattern. And they have tests that are kind of like the personality tests where you determine what your biases are. It's just very insightful. ePathways had an internship fair. This is the last thing I'll talk about, and it rocked. Great vendors there. The kids are so professional, very comfortable. I remember the first year that Jason started doing that, Dr. Weissong, and it seemed like every vendor that I talked to wanted kids to do social media and fix their computer. Well, that's not the case anymore. They're giving them a lot of really good experience, real-world experience, and they respect them for their knowledge. So thank you. That's what I have to say.
All right. Wow. We all have been to so many things. It's been amazing. Also, one thing I want to remind everybody too, same thing, please enjoy your family. They just did a study, and for everybody listening, that the most important part of the day is having dinner with your family. And we need to make sure that we take time, have dinner with our family, no cell phones out, no TV on, and just have a conversation with your family on a daily basis. If you can't do it on a daily basis, at least try to shoot for once a week. It's huge. So I just wanted to do that, please. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. So we're going to try to get out here so we can have family dinners with our family. Castleberry leadership, like Ms. Allman said, was absolutely amazing. The classroom meetings, the social skills that these children have is unbelievable. And what an amazing program. The 7 habits and how they abide by them and have open-ended questions with it is just phenomenal. So kudos to all the teachers there and everybody, all the students and everybody that were involved there. Just an amazing program. We also had the opportunity to do the Eugene Gregory ceremony today for our graduates. That was absolutely beautiful. These students have really worked hard, and we're so proud of them for doing what they've done, making good choices and graduating, and we couldn't be prouder. So it was a really nice ceremony. Seminole Health Advisory Council, we didn't have a meeting, but basically we were still talking about, last time I talked a little bit about the cigarettes and how the Seminole High School student had done a video, a PowerPoint. I would love to have her come and share that and see if we can get her to do that. We did have our Grants for Great Ideas with the foundation. That was amazing. And thank you, Mr. Weissong and Mr. Guard Herald, that was, along with Dee Dee Schaffner and all the other board members and their members, we were able to give out a lot of grants. And so it's a great feeling when you know that you're going to be able to give out a lot for the arts and STEM and for technology and everything like that. So it was wonderful and just amazing leadership with that too. I had an opportunity, Dr. Calderon and I went to stand up with us, I'm sorry, at Oviedo High School, and listen to a Holocaust speaker along with Mr. Godrow and Mr. Tribus, and a lot of other people were there. Packed house. And a lot of the teachers were there too, which was really nice, and the students were receiving extra credit to come and listen to the great Holocaust speakers. It was neat because the two speakers that spoke have lost their significant others and are dating now, so I thought that was really cute. Just thought it was sweet. Also, don't want to forget about the Safety Patrol event last night. Captain Francis and SROs, along with everybody else. Wow. I didn't get to stay for the second one, but you all knocked it out of the park. That was amazing. And it's so huge, especially being a fifth grade teacher for so many years. They really take pride in honoring those students that really show their leadership and citizenship is huge. And I think it's going to be next year. It's going to be even a bigger event. I mean, I know that we had a lot of people this year, and you all stayed really late, so I got to leave early. So thank you for that. And I think that is basically it I have. All the wonderful concerts out there, I went to that. Teague had a science night with robotics. That was fabulous. Central Florida Zoo was with us there. And the kids were able to pet different types of lizards and the snake and all kinds of different things there, and just different concerts all over. So I know a lot of us have gone to many of those. Thank you.
Very much. A couple of different things that we are still working on as a board, and so I want to look forward to some more discussion. I know we talked a lot about impact fees, and we're kind of at the point where we're not talking about impact fees as much anymore. We've passed that baton, but we still have the MOU with the foundation and our relationship with the foundation on our plates to discuss. And talking with Dr. Griffin this afternoon, we thought it might be best to bring as a part of the agenda on the 23rd under an information item for discussion, the draft MOU. And I believe it's been distributed to everyone at this point. That is just what it is. It is a draft. So if you would go ahead and take the time to read it, make any changes, suggested thoughts, write them all down so that we can all come prepared to have a really good discussion. And be also thinking about the fact that our policy related to the foundation, and maybe we could distribute that as well just so it's easy for everyone to have. Our policy is essentially one sentence relating to the foundation, and so we probably need to keep that in mind too. There are a couple of different things that I know we have talked about that we've never really fully gained consensus on, things like the foundation operating in the sunshine, a variety of items. Who are the employees working? How much are they reimbursing us? All of those kinds of things we need to really come to a consensus on as a board and move forward. And I think we're in a good place to do that. So just be thinking about that for the 23rd. We'll have that as some discussion as a part of that meeting. The other thing that has been discussed in the community for quite some time, we just didn't know about it, is a project that apparently is being referred to as Worley Park. And it's something that the Wendover Housing Group is proposing in conjunction with a group out of California called Step Up. And I think it would be helpful for our staff that's been involved in conversations about that project to brief each individual board member. I'm not sure that this is something that will ever come to us as a vote, but I think out of an abundance of caution, it would be good for us to have discussions about it publicly. The first time that Dr. Griffin and Dr. Walsh and members of her team and I had the opportunity to meet with the folks from Wendover Housing, and this is important for you all to know this in case you're have someone in the community ask you about it, was November 14th. That was the first time the project was actually presented to us. We had a follow-up meeting on December 6th. Because this project is in close proximity to Seminole High School, Dr. Connie Collins has been invited to give some feedback. But I think it's important that you all realize all of this discussion is going on because apparently it has been projected to some folks in the community that this board or members of this organization have already heard about the project and are supporting it. And I don't think that that's fair to say because you've not heard anything about it. Certainly, we're willing to work with any group collaboratively. We want to talk about good ideas and ways that we can help the community. That part is definitely true. But as far as specifics and details, I just felt like it was important that you all know that there's those discussions being had. Special thank you to Pete Gaffney and his team at Winter Springs High School for hosting the Community Leadership Academy. Anytime that group comes onto a campus, I know they put a lot of effort and work into welcoming them and putting on a great, rolling out the red carpet and welcoming them. So thank you to them. I also want to thank the Winter Springs Rotary and all of our Rotaries in Seminole County do an amazing job of supporting our Seminole County public schools. I don't think there is one Rotary in this community that doesn't have some type of fundraiser for scholarships or some way that they support our kids. And I had the opportunity to speak to the Winter Springs group last week right before the Community Leadership Academy, and they were just so supportive of our schools and wanted to know more about things going on at Winter Springs High School and the ways that they can help us there. For Aviation Day, just a special shout out to the relationships that had to be in a good, healthy place to make that thing come off between Seminole County Public Schools, Seminole State College, and the Orlando Sanford Airport. Tremendous shout out to everyone involved in pulling an event like that together. It was lots of parts and pieces moving, so that was great to see. And so many opportunities for students and their parents, apparently, who live within very close proximity of that airport who had never been on airport property before or had never been on a plane before. And someday we're going to get Mike Gaudreau on a plane that actually takes off up in the air.
He's never been on a plane?
Baby
Wow.
steps, baby steps. It was great for little kids and big kids. Tomorrow, Dr. Griffin and Cindy Williams and I think some other staff members are meeting with Jillian Hasner, who is the executive director of Take Stock for the state of Florida. Just going to try and get an idea of the different types of programs that Take Stock, the way that it operates, just learn more about it. Also tomorrow is an appreciation luncheon for all of our head custodians. We don't realize how they practically live at our schools.
Yep, they do.
They do a great job. Echo everyone's comments about having a great time off and spending time with your families. Happy Hanukkah. I think tomorrow night might be the last night of Hanukkah for our Jewish friends. So enjoy that. Christmas is coming. And we have some Boy Scouts here tonight. Thank you for being here. You all, we could have had you fill out a form and we could have recognized you, but that's okay. Stand up if you would. I'm going to put you on the spot. Tell us your names and what pack you're in. And what pack are you from? Troop, my bad.
Super.
Troop 617. Thank you for being here tonight. We love having students be here. Have a Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays.
Mrs. Almond has one more thing. I'm so sorry.
One more positive. We're always so busy. I'm always looking for ways to save time, and I typically can't save time in this job, but I can save time for tasks at home. So last year and this year at Lyman High School, I had Mrs. Hand's exceptional students in the JET program stuff and seal and stamp my Christmas cards. And I dropped them off yesterday afternoon. I picked them up this morning at 10 o'clock. What a relief. Oh, she saved me like 8 hours or something. So
Wow.
if you have tasks that need to be done, there's so many things these kids can do, and they're so proud of their work, and they do a fabulous job, and they're always supervised. And then I take them on a bunch of shredding, too. They like that, so.
Yeah, that's a
thank
great
you.
idea. I have one more shout out I want to do. A shout out to Miss Cindy Williams. Thank you so much for stepping in, doing the interim director right now. You are doing a fabulous job, and really enjoyed being in the Grants for Good Ideas meeting with you, and appreciate all you're doing.
Is there anything else to come before the board? No? All right, this meeting is adjourned.
You said it takes like 2 years. I'm hoping